And we are live. Welcome to Crypto Law TV. I'm John Deaton, the real John Deaton, and the founder of Crypto Law and your host. Today, I can't tell you where I am, but I'm at a secret location because I have been the subject of relentless cyber attack. And we'll talk about that later. But as many of you know by now, I am not in control of my Twitter account. I've been locked out. I'm going to explain that, and I'm going to try to give advice to people that in case they experience this, or maybe how to protect yourself from it. And it hurts my soul that some people may have been taken advantage of by using, any goodwill or respect that I have earned. So we're going to talk about that later. But before, there's big news this week, as yesterday, the SEC sued Binance. If we go back to a Spaces, I believe it was on Scott Melker's Wolf of Crypto Streets, whatever his tag is. Sorry, Scott. But anyways, on that Spaces, when the CFTC sued Binance and they were using language like terrorism and all of that kind of stuff, I said, listen, I can almost guarantee you that the SEC will dogpile and they will come and sue Binance as well. And we know that that's what's happened. There could be even more suits coming from Binance, what the rumor mill has said. And so basically 13 charges. And here's the thing to know. It's just like the Ripple case, just like using language like funding terrorism, all that. When you look at the SEC case against Binance, first thing I look for is fraud. It's the first thing I look for in the Ripple case. I want to know, is there evidence, chargeable evidence of fraud? But you hear language like engage in extensive web of deception, conflicts of interest. My God, every time anyone at the SEC starts talking about conflicts of interest, I literally have to pause and hold my breath because it is such a hypocritical thing for them to say. But this web of deception, lack of disclosure, calculated evasion of law, lying, they say lies. And so, but there's no charge per se of fraud. Again, maybe that's coming from the DOJ. I don't know, because there's issues of commingling and whatnot, lying to investors, lack of transparency, reliance on third parties. For XRP holders who've lived with the case, we could use those same words against the SEC, relying on third parties. How about relying on a small group of investors who help write your speech? Conflicts of interest. We need not go there in this episode of Crypto Law live stream. All those things, right? And so that was the news yesterday. And then there was news today that Coinbase obviously was sued. And to the rest of the world, people are probably catching up to XRP holders and the rest of crypto. And wow, can't believe Coinbase got sued. But some of us who have been here fighting this fight for over 2 years knew it was coming. In fact, I'm going to play a real quick clip right now to remind those that weren't paying attention when the rest of us were. Liz, I went on record to say I believe Gary Gensler is going to sue an exchange, whether it's Coinbase or Binance or another exchange in the United States, by the end of the year. Now, I said by the end of the year, that was July of 2022. Obviously, that prediction didn't come true by the end of the year, and it came true, several months thereafter. But the point being is that I'm not clairvoyant. We all know that. If I was clairvoyant, I wouldn't be in this position of being hacked and not have my Twitter account. Okay, so it's not like I'm special or anything. It was that us XRP holders who read that SEC complaint, who were paying attention, we knew this was coming, and we predicted it and we saw it. And now we're here today with the SEC suing Coinbase. And how they get sued, I got to tell you, when you're reading this complaint, and I haven't read it all, I have to be honest, because I've been dealing with the hacks, which just wasn't my Twitter account, but I've been at the bank, I've been at all these other places. So I didn't get through it all, but I got to tell you, I was reading through it, and it says, basically that the SEC has been operating as an illegal exchange for years, since 2019. And when you read that, you sit there and you think, wait a minute, you're saying that they were operating as an illegal exchange since at least 2019 is what the complaint says. 2 years later, the SEC, under different leadership, approved. Actually, I don't even know. Gary Gensler might even have been in by then, but it was April of 2021. I have to check the dates on that. Off the top of my head, I don't know. But the bottom line is, in April of 2021, the IPO was approved, and this allegedly illegal business model was blessed. Okay, blessed. Yes, I call it a blessed. When you look at a detailed S1, and I'll remind people that the chief legal officer of Coinbase came onto this Crypto Law show, and I asked him, I go, was the SEC surprised by your business model? And he said, no, they were given a detailed S1 that explained the model. Okay. In 2019, that's when Coinbase went to the SEC and said, we're going to list XRP because it's not a security. Right? But tell us if we're wrong. And they weren't told that they were wrong, and they listed XRP, and we know what happened thereafter. So I got to tell you, it is extremely frustrating to read this complaint as you sit here and you think, is this how America operates? We're going to grant you a business, but because of a political agenda, because Elizabeth Warren all of a sudden wants to go anti-crypto, and her good friend Gary Gensler is going to help her accommodate that. And maybe they're going to be pushing a central bank digital currency, or maybe Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and the rest of them are upset that Coinbase or these disruptors might actually be having a successful business, and we got to stop that. We're going to just 2 years later say, oh, we're going to ignore granting you an IPO, ignore all of those things, pretend that didn't happen, and 2 years later act like you've been this clandestine operation working in the shadows of the government, coming out taking advantage of investors. It is absurd. And I don't care if you are a great SEC defender, if you believe in it as an institution, if you read this complaint and you look at the actual facts, if you don't come to the conclusion that the SEC's leadership is broken and it is in bad faith, then you're not being objective. Now, let's turn to what was said, an SEC quote by this individual, the director of enforcement, Mr. Gippy Grewal. Quote, you simply can't ignore the rules because you don't like them or because you'd prefer different ones. The consequences for the investing public are far too great. Where were you at, Gippy, in 2021? Where was the director of enforcement? Well, we know what happened to the director of enforcement under Clayton Berger, don't we? But where were you at? Why did you continue to allow investors to be taken advantage of for an additional 2 years? Did you speak up? Did anyone speak up and say, don't grant this illegal business an IPO? No, because you're all bad faith regulators. And I got proof. And here's proof. Let me remind people of just who the director of enforcement is, Mr. Gippy Grewal. Let's rewind the clock a little bit and listen to this.
SEC official gives a speech at a conference. And the official begins, of course, by stating that, quote, their views are their own and not necessarily those of the commission. Anyone who's ever heard an SEC office official speak would know that this is standard, and they would not interpret it the speech as legal guidance. However, let's say that the SEC official consulted SEC staff and perhaps even ethics directly to assist them in writing speech or giving guidance. Under this scenario, would the written speech still be considered personal views of the individual and not views of the commission?
Respectfully, I can't answer that right now because that hypothetical is a real scenario that's playing out in litigation.
Oh, what litigation would that be?
That would be the Ripple litigation.
Ripple XRP. So is it true that Director Hinman submitted his speech to ethics for approval?
Again, I can't comment on pending litigation.
Under oath, absolutely. You want to talk about lies? You want to talk about misleading the public? You want to talk about lying to investors? Hinman's speech, whether or not it was given to the ethics department, screened and approved, was not under litigation. That question could have been answered. But guess what? It's all been resolved now. So I would invite Mr. Congress Warren Davidson, get Mr. Grewal back, because the judge has ruled. There's no appeal. We're about to see the emails. We're about to read them. Let's get them back and answer those questions. Answer that first question and answer that second question, because the American public are not tired of Coinbase. We're tired of you people leading the SEC with bad faith, serving a political agenda that benefits a few instead of representing and protecting investors and honoring the mission that you took an oath to honor. In fact, when we think about how can you even sue Coinbase, right? Like, if it's so, is it the CFTC? Is it the SEC? Remember, there was an executive order that was leaning toward the CFTC. Do we all remember that? Well, who gives Gary Gensler even the authority to sue Coinbase? Let's revisit what Mr. Gensler had to say his very first hearing as SEC.
To consider whether to bring greater investor protection to the crypto exchanges. And I think if that were to be the case, because right now the exchanges trading in these crypto assets do not have a regulatory framework, either at the SEC or our sister agency, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, that could instill greater confidence. Right now, there's not a market regulator around these crypto exchanges. And thus, there's really not protection against fraud or manipulation or a conflict of interest.
He was basically saying it's up to Congress who to decide is the appropriate regulator. But in the meantime, I guess he's changed his mind and decided that it's going to be the SEC and that they're going to call a business that's been operating in good faith for years, a type of business that was granted an IPO, whose S1 was approved, but now we're going to ignore all that and say otherwise. And so the hypocrisy that Judge Netburn talked about, it is coming out. Judge Netburn in the Ripple case said that these people at the SEC, the enforcement lawyers litigating the case, you know what I mean? Those people and the leaders, the directors, that they're not only are they hypocrites, but they're not acting with a faithful allegiance to the law. Their allegiance is to something else. It's political agendas. It's protecting the incumbents. It's whatever it is, but it is not for you and me. Okay. And so I wanted to remind people of exactly who these leaders are and how we're going to be able to use the evidence of their statements against them as we move forward. Personally, I think the SEC has overplayed its hand, because this Coinbase lawsuit, I don't care who you are, even if you don't like crypto, if you're just objective, we'll have to say, you have to hold them accountable and say, that's just not the way we regulate financial markets in the United States. And this is wrong. This offends people. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. It doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative. It offends you because it's fundamentally unfair. It's un-American. And it's certainly not free market capitalism, okay? Now, with that said, let's talk about why I'm at a secret location. first thing I have to say is I got this on my birthday. As everybody knows, I was hacked. I was hacked before, but on my birthday is when they decided to exploit my name. And I'm going to be coming to you and relying on, that's it, the XRP Army, because I'm in need of your help. And I'm going to explain to you why, so that everyone understands what happened. All right. When I said relentless, when you go to Uphold's account now, you'll see that there's a notice, and it says that there won't be any phone calls from Uphold, and there's a certain domain that only their information comes from. In part, that has to do with my experience. A few months back, I complimented the Uphold fraud department because I was attacked, and I literally was frozen out of my phone on my Uphold account at home. And I went to my laptop, and I got on my laptop, and I tried to get on my Uphold account, and it popped up, your account is frozen. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I got an email that said, hey, this is Uphold support. It was an email. It had Uphold support, this, that. It had the emblem, the logo, all of that. And it said, fill in this information, hit this link. And I did, unfortunately, I hit the link, but then I didn't fill the information out because it looked so legit. But then I got paranoid. Well, the phone rang, my cell phone, right? Not this cell phone, this is a new one. All right. But my cell phone rang, and it said, hey, this is Alex, or whatever the name was, from Uphold. Did you just try to access your account? Yes. And he goes, well, I'll walk you through it. And I'm like, I don't have my laptop. Call me back in a half hour. In the meantime, I went outside of a different location. And once I was on cellular, I could access my phone and my accounts. And so they had sabotaged my home Wi-Fi. And then, I saw that, I froze my accounts, all that. Now we fast forward, and I upgrade my phone, and I'm basically the victim of a SIM swap. What happened, I was actually talking to my friend, Jimmy Filan. I was texting him. It was like 6:30 p.m. On Saturday, my birthday. And all of a sudden I get a text. And that text says it's from AT&T Wireless or Verizon Wireless, whatever provider I have. I'm not disclosing anything anymore, or T-Mobile. And basically says that your request to transfer your phone to a different SIM is in process. And that's when I went like, shit, not again. And then 5 minutes later, not less than 5 minutes later, right away, I get an email from Twitter that says your email has been, password has been changed, and your two-factor authentication has been set through some 2FA, device code. I didn't do that. And so then I knew that I was under attack. I looked at my Twitter account, and it was gone, frozen out. They two-factor authenticated, using my number, cell phone that they hijacked, and I was locked out of my account. That's when I saw immediately this bullshit law token or whatever was being promoted. And then I saw, because I was using my daughter's or Christie's cell phone Twitter to look, because I don't have a second Twitter account. And then I saw Crypto Eddie say, John, I don't blame her, being like, what's up here? And that person actually responded. The hacker actually responded saying, no, it is legit. And that's when I reached out to my crypto law team, and I reached out to other people saying, please let people know that I'm hijacked, I'm hacked, I'm locked out of my account. This isn't me. And I know that some people trusted that, and they opened it up, and maybe a rumor is that there was some, tens of thousands of dollars or something like that was confiscated in that short period of time. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry that this happened. It just hurts your soul to think that somebody like believed in your name or reputation trust you, and then some scumbag is taking advantage of it. So if you did get victimized, reach out to me, because I have taken measures. I'm going to try to find these people. I'm going to spend money to find these people, and they better hope I don't, because it's going to be a bad experience for them. And if I do find them and I can help make people whole, I will. But that's basically what happened. What I did is, as soon as I knew that my cell phone was out, I got on my Uphold account, hit freeze account, got on my Coinbase account, freeze account, called my bank, said, lock my accounts down, and did all those measures. Then I suspended, of course, somewhere in there, I called my cellular provider and said, suspend this phone number. And so that's basically, in essence, what happened. I'm having it investigated more, and we're taking measures. I did get on Twitter, and I saw people were so supportive of trying to help me. I love you guys to the bottom of my heart. Thank you. But I'm going to need your help more, because I got more to tell you. Right. So I haven't gotten my Twitter account back yet, because, I do bear some responsibility in this, because I didn't protect my Twitter account like I have other accounts, like my, let's say bank accounts or whatever. I didn't have it under two-factor authentication. A long time ago, before the XRP lawsuit, I wasn't even that big on Twitter. Like, I only had 100 followers. I didn't pay that much attention to Twitter. And I had signed up just using my cell phone number. I didn't even have an email associated with it. And so when they captured, and I never went back and did a two-factor authentication. So for some of you out there that don't have your Twitter account two-factor authenticated, take those measures, right? Because these people are relentless and they're sophisticated. And so I didn't have that. And so because I canceled my cell phone number, I can't get a code, right? And now they have two-factor authentication. They've essentially locked me out. And I've been dealing with Twitter support, and they've been helpful to the extent that they can. But the reality is, I've jumped through everything I can to do to them. And then today, this is the email that I got. And the email basically they can't verify me, and they're closing the case, which, if I do nothing else, means I'll never get my Twitter account back, right? And so I'm going to try to reopen a new case. But what I'm doing is reaching out to you, and hopefully, and I'm going to use this Twitter, the stream right now, to verify John Deaton, right? And so let me just say that I am John Deaton. Here's some proof. Here is my passport, right? Not the most handsome fella in the world. Probably someone you wouldn't want to hack if you take a really good look at my eyes. Okay. Now, in addition to that, here is my Marine Corps retired ID. You don't get this from the Department of Defense unless you're JIT. That's it. Johnny Deaton. That's my Marine ID. Okay. Here's my crypto law. Right. Now, you notice that you have a gold check mark. Crypto Law is a verified organization on Twitter with a gold check. I am on the profile and on the website as the founder and the host. So there you have that. I'm the founder of Deaton Law Firm, which was part of my Twitter file. And on top of all that, this is what Twitter did. Thankfully to you all, the XRP Army, when these scumbags put out, don't miss out on law, you see that. This is what Twitter put up there, right? And that's due to you people helping me. And so Twitter itself knows that my account has been hijacked, but because I only verified it with my phone or whatever, and that phone is now suspended, and I don't have an email, they're really giving me a hard time of verifying me. So I'm asking for, I'm going to try to hopefully unleash those people, right? And help me. That's the XRP Army. That's a birthday present from my daughter. I want you to tag, Crypto Law is going to make a clip of this, and I want you to tag Twitter support and tag Elon Musk. Please be respectful. Please be, Twitter is understaffed. It's a great platform. It's a platform that XRP holders have utilized, that this decentralized justice has shown the power of it. So I'm a huge Twitter supporter and believer in the platform. Of course, it can be improved, right? And this is an area it can be improved on. But if you could just professionally and politely, tag Twitter support and Elon Musk, maybe we can get 10,000 people out there to say, listen, let's get this account back so that we can't be silenced. And, I know there's lots of theories out there, the timing of this, of my account being hacked. I'm not even going to get into any of that because I don't care. All I care about is that, we get back to trying to grow this ecosystem, try to hold our government officials accountable. So I'm asking for your help. I can tell you right now, I don't think I'm getting my Twitter account back unless it is up to you people to help me get it back. If we prove to him, to Elon and to Twitter support that it's the right thing to do. All right. With that said, I'll see you next week. Hopefully you'll hear from me, but let me first tell you of next week is not going to be on Tuesday. I'm moving the show to the next day. June 13th, we get to see the Hinman emails, the drafts, the comments. We don't know what time on June 13th that's going to come down. Does it come down in the morning or does it come down in the evening? Bottom line is the next day is a very special day. The next day is June 14th, 2023. 5-year anniversary of the most infamous speech in SEC history. And I've got a show for you, and I've got Jeremy Hogan coming on. I've got Mark Fagel, right? It's not just going to be an anti-SEC live stream coming on to give his perspective as someone who's worked at the SEC and worked against the SEC, someone who has a different perspective as John Deaton has or Jeremy Hogan. I want to hear that. I know you want to hear it. And that's not all. We'll have more than that. So tune in Wednesday, June 14th. I hope to see you before then on Twitter, or at least talk to you on Twitter before then. Keep up the faith. These listen, all to the hackers out there, if you're watching, did you cause me some inconvenience? Sure. But look what you did. All you did is motivate some of the best people on the planet. And you're not going to win. We're going to win. With that, everyone have a great night. See you next week.